Okay, so welcome to part 4 of this character series where we have been making this character Mr. Toast. If you haven't seen the first 3 parts of the tutorials, go ahead, check them out there in the description below. So part 1 is modeling, part 2 is rigging, part 3 is weight painting, and then this is part 4. We're going to be doing the shape keys, and we're going to be adding drivers to the shape keys so we can use our bones here, our little control bones, to move our shape keys around, or to make our shape keys behave a certain way. And we also have this eye blink here as well that we can control. So I'm going to be going through this step by step, and like I showed in all the other videos, the end result is going to be this guy over here, which is a fully riggable character that you can use in all sorts of really cute motion graphic stuff. And I should also mention, like I mentioned in all my other videos, if you go in the description below, you can actually purchase all of the different stages of this character, so from part 1 to 5. To a complete character, so you can actually look at the scenes for reference. So they're for sale in the description below on Gumroad. And for those of you who are on Patreon, I'll be giving for tier 2 and higher, you're going to be getting that by default. So let's get into this little tutorial and do our drivers and our shape keys. Okay, so first of all, before we get into our shape keys and drivers, to make things easier for ourselves, we're going to select our rig over here, right? And we're going to hit M, and we're going to go New Collection. I'm going to call this rig, and we're going to hit enter, and we're going to go OK. So now over here in our scene collections, we can see we have the collection, which is all of our items here, and then we have the collection, which is our rig. So if we untick this little box here, it's going to hide our rig, but it's not deleting anything, it's just hiding our rig, and it's just going to make things a little bit more organized for us. So with that done, we're going to select our character here, and we're going to come to our object data properties here. Just minimize the vertex group here, and then under the shape key, let's just pull this box open a little bit more, and we're going to add in a shape key. So let's just hit this little plus twice. So it's going to create a basis, but the one we want is the key 1. So we're going to select the key 1, which is our shape key, and we're going to tab into edit mode. And this first shape key is going to be a smile. So let's go ahead and actually let's make it a mouth open, I think, and then we'll do the smiles. So we're going to select this vertice option over here, the vertex select. We're going to come here to our proportional editing. It's very important that we enable proportional editing. We also want to come and make this connected only. That's very important. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select the vertice over here on the top of our mouth. And we want to make sure that X mirror is enabled. So you can see it's blue now. And we're going to go G, and we're going to go Z, and we're going to bring this down like this. And while we're bringing it down, we're going to roll our mouse, our middle mouse button, to give ourselves some more fall off. So then we're going to go Shift and Alt and click to select this loop here. I'm going to go G, Z, and just bring it down even more to about here. S just to scale it up a bit. And then because we have X mirror enabled, we can go Shift, Alt, click on this loop here, and then go G to move it, R to rotate it a little bit, and then S to scale it. So we're just moving these guys out. So Shift, Alt, click on this loop here, G, and just move it out a bit, S to scale it a bit. Just like you see here, nothing complicated. Maybe grab this guy here, move it in a little bit more like this. So now we have a mouth open here, but obviously we need to do the same with this guy here. So select a vertice for the bottom of the mouth over here. I'm gonna go G, Z, and just bring it down as well. And we can roll our middle mouse wheel to create some more fall off to affect more of the geometry. So we're gonna roll it to about here, and then we're gonna make sure holding and shift to select both of these vertices here at the top. G, Z, and just bring them all the way down into here. So they're sitting underneath the lip. Then holding in shift and just shift, we're going to select these 2 vertices over here. And we still have X mirror enabled, so it should happen on the other side. We're going to go G and just move this guy in behind here. So essentially what we're doing is just making the mouth look like it's open, like this. So if we tab out of edit mode, we now have this key 1 here. If we drag this value slider, we can see the mouth opens, and that is our shape key. So let's call this guy mouth open. Very simple. Okay, so let's just drag this to a value of 0. Let's hit the plus to create another shape key, and let's just call this one smile.l. Okay, tab into edit mode, and this smile.l, what we're going to do, it's essentially just a smile, and it's .l because it's on our left side. So what we're going to do is select this vertice here. This time we want to make sure to disable the X mirror. Very important, make sure to disable the X mirror. We still have proportional editing enabled, and we still have it as connected. We'll select this vertex here, and then we're going to go R. We're going to rotate it, but we need to be careful with the fall off. We don't want to go too much. So just these ones here. So rotate it a little bit, then G to move it up like this. And we're just trying to make it look like a smile. So if you go Shift Alt, you can select loops even here, and you even rotate the loops. So Shift Alt, click on this loop here of vertices, G, move it over here. We're just trying to create what is essentially just a smile. So just selecting these edge loops here, bringing them out up here to create this smile here. Nothing too much. Very, very basic stuff. Just like this. And then obviously what we're going to do is go Control L just to select all of this geometry. We're just going to hit H. It's not deleting anything, it's just hiding it. And then if we go into wireframe, we can, okay, not wireframe, just go back to solid. Select this vertex here in the corner of the mouth. We go G, just move this guy up as well. And then R just to roll it. And once again, I'm just rolling my middle mouse wheel to make sure we get that proportional editing fall off like we want. Just selecting these vertices and also just bringing these guys up like this. Very, very simple. So if we go Alt H, we can unhide the lips here. And let's just quickly tab out of edit mode. And let's just go to the mouth open. Let's open that all the way. Let's go to smile.l and let's just make that a value of 1 as well. Tab into edit mode. Make sure you have the smile.l selected though. And we're just going to keep going back and forth. So we're just going to, I know this is a little bit tricky, so let's just try hiding some geometry. We're going to go to a face select. Just select a face here and here. Just a few faces, just on the side here. Just select them and hit H just to hide them. So then we can come in here, go to our vertex select, and just make sure we select a vertex in the mouth here, the corner of the mouth. Okay, just make sure to select these corner of the mouth vertices here. And we just want to rotate them again. And make sure that under our proportional editing connected is still enabled. We just want to move this up here. Just make the background match the mouth shape here. I know it seems a little bit complicated, but it's not that bad. So just like that, Alt H just to unhide all of this geometry. So once you're happy with your smile, we'll just leave it as it is. And then what we're going to do is just also grab the mouth open here, just bring that down to 0. So I'm going to show you a little trick. So we're going to grab the smile.l, make it a value of 1. Then we're going to come here, click on this little arrow here. We're going to go New Shape from Mix. And if this key free now selected, we're going to click on this little arrow, drop down again, and we're going to go Mirror Shape Key. And now if we take this key free and we drag it up, we have a smile.r. So let's just quickly name that smile.r and hit enter. So now we have two things we can control here for our smile, and we can even come and use the mouth open on top of that and decrease the smile, as you guys can see here. And we're just going to keep this one very basic. This character doesn't need too much. It's a very simple character. So just make sure all of these values here are set to 0. And also when we're doing shape keys, we never want to come in and add new geometry. So you don't want to extrude or add any new loops. We're just simply moving existing geometry around. Okay, so now we have those shape keys. Let's just quickly come and select these eyebrows here, or eyelids. I keep calling them eyebrows. And then we're going to go to our modifiers tab, and we're going to apply this mirror modifier. We're then going to hit F3. We're going to type in set origin. Click on set origin, and we're going to set the origin to the geometry. So now that origin point is in the middle. Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come to our shape keys here, hit plus twice, and with key 1 selected, we're going to tab into edit mode. And very simply, we're going to hit A to select all of this geometry. We're going to go S, Z, and scale it down on the Z. G, Z, and bring it up. And then we're going to come over here. We're going to enable individual origins, disable the proportional editing, and then we're going to go S, X, and scale them both on the X. Then we're going to go into our right orthographic view by hitting 3 on our number pad. Go into wireframe. Then we're going to go S, Y, and scale these down on the Y, just like this. Okay, so we're just creating these nice eyelids. Nothing too complicated. Tab out of edit mode. And now we have a shape key we can slide here. And you're going to see we have some intersection here. So what we can do, just make sure it's a value of 1, tab back into edit mode. And what we need to do is select just these bottom vertices on both of them. And then we need to go S, Y. Also enable proportional editing, then go S, Y, and just scale them out on a Y a bit. Okay, then let's try that out again with the slider. Still getting that issue, so let's tab back into edit mode. A to select everything, S, and then go to your front view actually, go S, X, and scale them both on the X a little bit because we still have median, the median point enabled. Tab out of edit mode, and let's just see if we still get that problem with the intersection. Okay, it's not as bad now, but we don't have to worry too much about it anyway, because what we're going to do is just bring it to about a value of 0.4, and I'll quickly show you. So we're going to select, first of all, actually just select the eyes here, and we're just going to apply the mirror on them as well. Hit F3 and just go to set origin, and just also set the origin to geometry. So now we're going to grab this guy here. We're going to go and get a shrink wrap modifier. So with the eyelids, get a shrink wrap modifier. Grab this eyedropper and select the eyes here. And then we're going to come here to the offset, and we're just going to bring it out a little bit. Okay, just like that. And we might still be having some of these issues here. If you still do, on top of this, we're going to add a solidify modifier. And we're going to bring this thickness out a bit. And then on top of that, we're going to add a subdivision surface modifier. So now let's grab these eyebrows, or these eyelids, go back to our object data properties, and let's try out this value slider. So you can see now it looks a lot better. It's still not perfect, but it's a lot better. It's something we can work with. Okay, so now let's just call this guy blink. And it's just a very simple, very stylized, very unrealistic, but very stylized kind of like blink here. And you can do a lot more with the shape keys here if you want to, but we're just keeping it basic. So set this back down to 0, it's fine. And let's just quickly grab these pupils here. And what we're going to do with them is we're going to tab into, apply the mirror modifier, tab into edit mode, hit A to select all of this geometry, hit P, and we're going to separate by loose parts, tab out of edit mode. And with both of these objects selected, we're going to hit F3, we're going to go to set origin and set origin to geometry. And now both of them have their own origin point right in the middle, like this. Okay, very simple. So let's just select this guy here and let's go to the, give it a shrink wrap modifier, the pupil, click on a little eyedropper and select the eyes. Come to the offset and just bring it out just a tiny little bit. You don't want to overdo this. So just a tiny amount, just so it's not embedded in there. And then what we're going to do is select this eye, this pupil here, holding in shift, click on this pupil, go Control L, and we're going to link the modifier. So now this guy has that exact same modifier, and it's wrapping to the eyes here. So let's just quickly add on top of this a solidify modifier. And we're going to bring the thickness out a little bit, just enough so it doesn't penetrate through the eyebrows. And then we're on top of that, we're going to add a subdivision surface modifier. It's just like that. Once again, just grab this guy, holding and shift select this guy here on the left, go Control L and just go and link those modifiers. So now both of them have the exact same modifiers. Grab the eyelid here and maybe just come to the solidify and just bring that thickness out even a little bit more, like that. Okay, now this eyebrow, if we go into our front view, this pupil, if we go into our front orthographic view, we move it around, it should be wrapping to our surface here, which is what we want. Okay, that's really good. So now we have a shape key for, just to recap, we have a shape key for the eyelids here. We have some shape keys here for our character to do some basic things with the mouth. And these pupils are doing what they're supposed to do, and we're going to be adding them to our rig as well. So that's what we're going to be doing next. Okay, so first of all, let's go to our scene collections. This is bring back our rig by ticking this box. And we're going to very simply just start adding some of these objects to our rig here. And because we named things, it's going to be relatively easy. So with the rig at the moment, I don't like it being see-through like this. So we're just going to go select the rig. We're going to go back, click on this little green guy here. Go to the viewport display, just make sure you open this up and just go untick in front. Okay, so now we're just seeing this. So very simple stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this pupil on the left of our character first, this pupil, and holding in shift, so hold in shift, we're going to select a rig. Then we're going to go into pose mode and we're going to click on this bone here, which is if we go down here to our bone settings, we can see it's the pupil.l. And then we're going to go Control P, set parent to, and we're going to make it bone. So make sure to make it bone. Then we're going to go back into object mode. We're going to select the other pupil on the right of the character. Holding in shift, we're going to select the rig. Then we're going to go into our pose mode, and I'm going to select this pupil.r bone. We're going to go Control P, and we're going to set parent to bone. Okay, so now we've parented that. And if you select this one here, you go G, you move it around, you can see this pupil's moving along, and the same with the one on the right. But the magic is, because we parented them both to this main eye control, if we go G and we move this one around, look at this. Look what we have. We have a very easy to use rig. Okay, we can refine that a little bit later with the pupils there, how they're reacting to the mesh underneath them. But this is looking pretty cool. So let's just leave it at that for now. And then what we're going to do is, let's just parent some of the other objects. So go back into object mode. What we need to do is select these eyes over here. Holding in Shift, select the eyelids. Okay, very important. And then with them both selected, holding in Shift, select the rig. So the rig is now active here, the armature. Then we're going to go into pose mode, go into wireframe, and we're just going to select this rig, or this bone called body. So under the bones tab, go up here, it should be named body. Then we're going to go Control P, and we're going to go to bone. So set parent to bone. Now, if we go back into object mode, just deselect everything, select the rig by itself, and then go back into pose mode. Go into wireframe and just select this hip bone here, for example. Go into solid view, and if we hit G and we move it, we can see it moves along. Let's go into a right orthographic view by hitting 3. Hit G and everything should be going along. If you hit R, it should all rotate. If you select this this body bone here and you rotate it, okay, everything should be going along. Right? You can see here, if we grab this bone over here, which is our main control bone, we went G, everything else should move. Our feet are working. We really are getting close. So let's just add in our drivers. And just to set everything back, we can hit A to select all of the bones. Just hit A and then hit F3 and type in clear and go to clear post transforms, and it'll set everything back to where it was. So let's go into our object mode, and let's just quickly and simply set up our drivers so we can control our shape keys with the bones. Okay, so what we want to do first of all is select our rig, go to this guy over here, just click on him, and what we want to do is under our viewport display, we want to make sure we enable axes. That's very important. And the reason we want to see that, we want to see what the local axes are of these bones so we know what to set up in our drivers. And I'll quickly explain that. So let's select our guy over here, our character, and remember earlier we created the shape keys here for the under the object data properties. So what we want to do now is we want to use these bones. So if we move these bones, it'll enable these sliders. So we don't have to come when we're animating and mess around with these sliders. We can just use bones. So let's start by coming to the mouth open. I'm going to right click over here, and we're going to go add driver. Now, for whatever reason you accidentally lose this box here, don't worry. Just right click on it and go open driver editor. And you can see all of this here. Okay. So with that done, now that you have the driver editor open, what we're going to do is come over here to where it says key. We're going to click on this key, come to the drop down, and we're going to click on the value mouth open. So this is our shape key here, the value mouth open. And we're going to come here to the drivers, and I know it looks complicated, but it's very simple. So what we're going to do is come here to the type. We're just going to make it averaged value, okay? And then we're going to come here to the object, and the object is obviously our armature. That's what we're working with because we're going to be using the bone. So select the armature. And we want to select the specific bone that we want to drive the mouth open. So let's go to the bones here, click on it. And we made the bone earlier, as you guys remember, called mouth open. So it's going to be one of the control bones. So it's called con_mouth open, which is this bone over here. And we want to come here to the space, and we don't want it to be world space. We want to work with the local spaces of the bones. So we're going to make this local space. Essentially, all it's saying, it's not paying any mind to the Z, X, and Y coordinates of our world space, but it's rather looking at the X, Z, and Y coordinates of our bones. And that's why I enabled the axes, because we want to be looking at the local Y here, so when we move this guy up and down. So let's go over here then and make the type, since we know it's going to be a Y, we're going to make it a local Y location, so it's local, it's a Y location. And then now that we have that bone selected, all we have to do is go to modifiers. We're going to give this guy a generator, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to come here, and we want this bone to go down on the negative of the local y, and that's what's going to make our shape key happen here. So let's come over here to the y value and let's make it -12 just as a test. Come over back to the drivers and just go update dependencies. So let's quickly grab this rig here. Let's go into pose mode and select this bone here that is called the con mouth open. And let's go G and see if anything happens. Okay, so nothing's happening at the moment, so let's just quickly go back. It's not a problem. Sometimes we have issues. So just select the character again, and we should still have that driver editor open here. If it's not, just get to the shape keys here, right click and go open driver editor. So let's just select that open mouth shape key again, and let's just go to our modifiers and let's just make this value here 0. Okay, and let's just come here to this value and make it -12 and hit enter. And let's go grab our rig here, go to the pose mode, and let's quickly see if it works now. So G, bring it down, and there you can see it works 100%. So now if we move this bone, it's literally causing our driver here to work. And this bone works in harmony with all the other bones. If I move the bone here, you can see it goes along. So it doesn't hurt anything. It's really good. All we have to do is go G and just move it down, and it creates that for us. Really cool. So let's do the rest of the shape key. So go back into object mode. Select our guy over here, and what we're going to do is just right click on this. We're going to go and copy driver, click on the smile.l, right click, and we're going to go paste driver. Then we're going to just go back into our driver editor, or just right click and go open editor. This time we're going to click on the value smile.l, go back to our drivers, and of course we want the smile.l bone. So let's go down to the con bones, and we want the con smile.l, so that's a control bone, and it's the smile.l because it's on the left side. So click on it, and we're also going to be working with the local y as well. So let's just leave these types here as they are. Come to the modifiers, and under the generator, we want this one to be positive because we're going to be taking the bone up to make the smile. So let's make it +8. So just type in 8, and let's grab this rig here, go into pose mode, select this con smile.l bone and go G and just move it up, and you can see now it is causing our smile there. So that's really good. So let's just go back into object mode, just select a character here, obviously just go back into the driver editor here. I think if we grab that value smile.l, and under the modifier we can just come here to this value and just make it bigger. So I'm going to make it 13 so it's a little bit more effective. Okay, so very simple. Let's do the other one. The other one's going to be super easy because all we have to do is essentially mirror it. So minimize this, come over here to our object data properties. We're going to right click on the smile.l, and we're going to copy the driver, come to the smile.r, right click and paste it. This is open that driver editor, click on the value smile.r. Very simply, we're going to come to this bone called this bone here, and we're just going to change the extension. So get rid of the capital L and type in capital R, and you can see here we have the con underscore smile.r that we created earlier, and we're going to leave all of these settings exactly as they are. They'll all be just fine. So let's close this, grab this rig here, go into our pose mode. Now if we select the smile.r, it's going to do the same thing. So now we have these 3 bones we can use to work with our mouth. How's that? And you guys can use that exact same principle to come in here and add all sorts of shape keys, add in bones, and then connect them up as a driver, and you can control the mouth here. Very cool stuff. So that's essentially that done. So once again, just to reset things, you can select everything, hit F3, type in clear pose transforms, and just click on it, and everything will go back to where it was. So now, just to recap, we have added all of these rest of the objects to our rig. So if we select this main controller here, we go G and we move it, everything moves along. Our arms and our legs all have their own bones that is working with them. And once again, if you find it hard to select things, just come over here, click on the little green guy, go to the viewport display, and enable in front. And also you can now untick axes. We don't need them anymore. So here we have it. Just doing one quick little test. Oh yeah, one thing we still have to do, of course, is add a driver. I almost forgot. Go back into object mode, real simple. We're just going to add a driver to this eyelid. So select the eyelid. We're going to come here to the blink, just click on it and go paste driver. So because we still have that original driver on our clipboard. And we're going to come over here, right click, just go open editor, open driver editor. Click on this key 001 here for the blink. Drop down, just click on the blink here, that's it. Then we're going to come here and we're going to change it to the eyelid, so con_ eyelids, that's the one we created earlier for the eyelids. And then we just want to leave it at local Y. And I think the modifier should also be okay, as we're going to be pulling it up. So this just leaves that guy at 13 as well. Let's just quickly grab our rig here, go into pose mode. Let's just select that controller here. And it's the one called con_eyelid. And if we go G and we move it up, it's going to control that blink. Very simple stuff. And I'm just going to go back, click on this little guy and just disable in front. It's a little bit annoying. So now we can see here, we have all of these things working. So that works. I hope this has not been too confusing. Once again, I am making all of these available on my Patreon, each stage of the process. So you guys can go into the files and have a look if you want to buy that. And I'll also make it available on Gumroad. But yeah, this is working. So in the next part, we're going to be refining things essentially and just finishing things off. And that's going to be part 5.